Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
Yo, yo.
Hey
Hello.
everybody, welcome to the first viewer's choice episode of On The Fringe for this year. I mean, we had it a lot last year, but now we're doing it every month, once a month. So here we are, our
Yes.
very first
Welcome.
episode.
Welcome to the first Viewer's Choice episode of the season. So
Yeah,
we had a few subjects being thrown into the ring. But we have
yeah, we did actually. Yeah, we actually had quite a few. It's quite we had Hollow Earth, we had the World Series, which Navi Network says on YouTube. But we kind of chose one that kind of strikes very close to, well, I wouldn't say close to home, but it's more recent in news. And I think but I don't know if by the title you can really get a sense of what it is, but we will be
yes.
talking about the recent cases of UFOs and UAPs, more
Yes.
specifically the shooting down of UFOs slash UAPs.
Yes. Finally.
Now,
Shoot down
this
those
is
aliens.
we're going into more of Bill's territory, I suppose, than mine. So we'll get into it a little bit, but before we begin, again, thank you guys for
Mm.
sending all your topics. If for next month, if you do want to see something, you can let us know anytime from now till then.
Yep.
Just send us your topics. We'll put out a post on Facebook or TikTok, wherever you watch us, and put out your comments, like the ones that you want to see, and we'll do anything that you guys want us to do. And most
Yeah,
of you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
want to do it,
I
we'll do it.
mean, guys, like we don't like just need we don't just communicate through TikTok. If you want to see something, and if you have a suggestion, right, that you really want it seen, comment down below on the
Oh yeah,
YouTube video.
definitely,
Yeah, like that is
definitely.
like the most guaranteed way of like us seeing it. TikTok, fantastic. So thank you very much for using the new medium,
The
as
new
it were.
channel, yes.
So yeah, let's get down to it. So first of all, beer open, and why don't
And
I leave it to Mr. Matt to set the scene for us?
yes, so this is a bit of the background of the balloon thing. If you haven't, if you don't have a news subscription or anything, or you're just living under a rock, right? So ever since February 4th, when the U.S. shot down a weather balloon off the coast of South Carolina, the military has been in something like a skeet shooting mode, blasting three more unidentified aerial objects out of the sky on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 10th of February,
Mhm.
11th, and the 12th. Now, the first of the three were spotted in the North American Aerospace Defense Command (NORAD) radar over the northern coast of Alaska, which was described by fighter pilots as metallic and cylindrical shape. And it was flying at about 40,000 feet, low enough to menace civil aircraft. Now, how it stayed afloat wasn't clear. Now, it could be a gaseous type of balloon inside a structure, or it could be some kind of propulsion system. Now, this was a quote by actually the NORAD commander, General Glenn Van Herrick, in Sunday's news conference. Now, the object shot down on Saturday was also flying at 40,000 feet over the Canadian Yukon Territory. Now, it was more of a traditional balloon with a metallic payload hanging from it. Sunday's object was flying at 20,000 feet and was shot down over Lake Huron, which was the most mysterious of all, described as an octagonal in shape with strings or cables hanging from it. Now, its means of staying afloat was very unclear. Now, either way, all the shoot downs were both preemptive and unprecedented. The General Van Herrick actually said, "I believe that this was the first time within the United States or American airspace that NORAD or the new United States Northern Command has taken kinetic action against airborne object." Now, if you really think of it, it is quite strange. It raises a few questions about how much weird stuff flying up in the air and what the origins are and what its intent, whether it's hostile,
Hmm.
scientific, or benign, or even military. Now, how do you actually distinguish an aerial friend from foe? And we just entered a new phase in just shooting down stuff from the sky or whatever casts a shadow in the radar? It leads to a lot of things that I think we're gonna kind of cover in today's episode, right, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the history of UAPs and UFOs, it's not been unprecedented that like UAPs have been shot down in the past. But usually it takes it takes a it, it takes a little bit more like more decision making. Right now, it seems like the U.S. Air Force and NORAD is just going, is it one of ours? No. Like decision
Yeah,
tree there. Shoot down.
as long as it's in its airspace. Yep. Okay, we're good. Bye. Boom. There we go.
Yep, yep, yep,
But yeah,
yep.
I mean, I think in order for everybody to kind of grasp, what kind of things we're dealing with in the sky, we kind of need to go into the background of exactly kind of the history of the sightings of the UFOs, UAPs, especially. I mean, UFOs and UAPs are quite similar. So
Yep.
we need to kind of
So
go into this history of what it's been, its evolution per se of the first sightings to kind of where it is now.
yep,
So,
yep,
Bill,
yep.
why don't you take us into your territory?
All right, yeah, fantastic. So our dear researchers have prepared this fantastic timeline. And it will be up there right now. There we go. Fantastic timeline of it's a very, very basic it's a very basic it's a very basic timeline showing the progression of how UFOs have been described, both in media and also described in terms of sightings, as well as their like a little bit about their spacecraft and what they're associated with. So as you can see, right in the 1940s to 50s, that's when you get the first instances of the little green men. You know, um, the kind of like pseudo gray aliens um in like a weird like manta ray kind of spacecraft, and then you progress from the little green men to the Acorn Cyclops and robots. So a little bit more metallic, a little bit more cyborgy. You get that's also where you get the silver men that you see a lot in older media of what aliens look like as well, and they are and that is also around where you get the acorns, like the barn like UFO ships that spins around. There's lots of lights going on, and they just kind of spin off out of nowhere.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I think if you really look back into like the old films, you kind of get a good sense of all the weird types of alien things that people kind of accepted as de facto, you
yep,
know?
yep, yep, yep. Yeah, yeah. And then something I didn't know, the 1970s is where like the insectoids first came on. I was like, huh, all right, like that's I know of a few descriptions of like of aliens that are insectoids, but I didn't know like there were actually sightings of these things. So that's pretty interesting. I think that's where we get into like the Mothman territory a little bit.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
hmm.
and then you have the ovals, which are kind of like egg shaped like UFO structures, like with like legs and the landing gear and stuff. Um, 1980s, lizard men and their like the lizard men and the motherships finally. So I think everyone. So if you're not familiar with the lizard men, are meant to be like a little bit more insidious, a little bit more chameleon-like, and that's also where you get a lot of
Our politicians
the
are lizard men.
strange picture frames of people in politics of like they're weird. They must be a lizard man.
I mean, like, what was it? I think they were saying that was it Mark Zuckerberg was an android or a lizard man.
Oh yeah, yeah. During his hearing, he looked very, very, very odd.
He was lagging. He was rebooting.
But anyway, this is also when we get the motherships. So these are like strange, kind of like it can be seen as a series of shapes of like solid shapes, or it could be one giant substructure, structure. So this is where we get like the pseudo Independence Day kind of like big mothership theory, where it's like, oh, big ship, then smaller ships. 1989 to 1990s, that's when we get the black triangles and the grays. So this is where we get to a little bit more of the mod, like a lot of the footage
Yeah.
that is post World War II comes from like the triangles, the super speedy triangles going at like Mach 7, Mach 6, something like that. That like is way beyond our current like military technology, and it's like what's going on? Why is these things here? And then the ever
Yeah,
popular
I mean,
like grays.
yeah, I think
Um,
grays like are the ones that are most common to a lot of people. Like, I mean, if you watch the show Paul, it's a
mm,
movie on an alien that was crash landed into Earth, and well, not crash landed. He was being experimented and helped, find his way back. And I think a lot of modern day grays, or this was the sort of the catalyst to I think what people are most
yeah,
common or what they know of aliens today as.
yeah, like stuff like you see from the X Files, fantastic
Yeah, yeah,
series.
exactly. The X Files.
So this is around the times that like X Files kind of like popularized the whole like grays taking over the Earth kind of thing. So 2004, 2017. Um, this is a little bit more pop culture stuff.
Hmm.
So this is when you get like the Independence Day movies. This is where you get like the reboot of the War of the Worlds movies starting to
Hmm.
pop up and going like, hey, aliens, invasion, that kind of thing. Um,
I mean, you
and
can even
all,
consider like things like Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're just like us, just only slightly different.
yeah, yeah, this is 2004 to 2017 to now is really when like pop culture and movies start to take on the whole idea that like, hey, aliens are here to invade us, they're bad people. Every single
Yes.
time a good alien species comes in, it's always followed up by a bad one that wants to take over. There's
Yeah.
no
I mean,
two
I
ways
think
about it.
yeah. I mean, even in the comments, a lot of them were shouting out movies like KK Hank said M Night Shyamalan's Signs.
Oh
Dorian
yeah,
Moon
yeah, yeah,
says
signs, yeah, signs.
Transformers. Numble Bumble says Alien versus Predator. And yeah, you can see that, over time, everybody's kind of perception of what an alien is kind of accumulation or different takes on different phases of our modern understanding of what people believe as the description of an alien, right?
Yep, 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 exactly, exactly. So I just find it very interesting that like um, we've gone from like little green men to now like kind of like little gray men, and then to
Great or anything really, whatever we are now.
yeah, and then now we're like anything, like
Yeah, and yeah, I think what's really important, you kind of need to see the progression of the even the modes of transport they were using, right? Like you were
mm,
describing, like in the beginning it was flying saucers, and I think flying saucers kind of lasted for very long. Uh, for the most part, actually, I believe flying saucers to be the international sign of a UFO. But then, like I just found out today, like black triangles were kind
yep.
of a thing, and I mean, of course, I've been seeing it, and it's just kind of weird that now here we are in modern day 2023 that we believe that these aliens have sort of become all hipsters, and now they're just chilling in old tech balloons, metallic balloons, the hot air balloons. It's a bit weird, don't you think?
Yeah, it could be seen as a little bit of a their own version of like drone reconnaissance, I would say.
Yeah. So I mean, today's episode we kind of wanted to touch on that topic because I think it's important that we don't take everything that we see from the news as taken for granted, right? You can't always look at a situation and think, okay, everything I see in the sky is a UFO or a UAP. But you got to start questioning, why is it now that we have aliens that are kind of reverting? People can argue that maybe humans are reverting, right? But it's a bit strange. And I think as we continue, I think it's really important to kind of take our each of our own personal takes on what we think aliens are in the first place, and also even if they were something real, would they then come to Earth?
Hmm. Yep, yep, yep. I mean,
So what? yeah, what is your take, Bill? I mean, I think let's
So
let's take turns here and go through it.
yeah. I mean, okay. So me personally, I subscribe to the dark forest theory. So, for those of you that do not know what the dark forest theory is, it was a theory described or proposed by the science fiction author Liu Cixin's novel, The Three Body Problems. Um, it so dark forest theory suggests that the universe is like a dark forest, where each civilization is like a hunter with a gun, moving stealthily through the trees in fear of being detected by other hunters. In this metaphor, each civilization is motivated to stay hidden and avoid detection because they fear the potential threat of another civilization who may be more advanced and more powerful than they are. So, um, that basically means that any communication between civilizations could potentially reveal their location and technological capabilities, which could make them vulnerable to attack or invasion by more advanced civilization. And yeah, so according to the Dark Forestry, advanced civilizations are likely to stay silent and avoid contact with other civilizations to avoid potential risks and dangers. So it does explain some of the silence that oh geez, my camera, that some of that NASA has been getting. I mean, like we've been blasting out communication signals for so long already, and like nobody's like saying hi.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it does pose one of the arguments in the field of astrobiology. Like, should we be actually like blasting out these like hello signals out into the darkness of space? Because straight like going back to when I was a wee lad, stranger danger.
So what you're basically saying is that you know the reason why we haven't found aliens or aliens haven't come to us is because it's essentially, if they were to come to us, it's not for a good reason.
Yeah,
It's
no,
it's for kind of domination per se.
yeah, yeah. Either
Right.
we have been extremely lucky, and our constant blasting out has just not been heard by anyone, or
Mhm.
we're kind of like that pushy kind of clingy like a Tinder date that like you constantly messages you and you just get ignored.
Well, that's an interesting way to look at it. But yeah, I mean, do you have any more information on that, or you think you want to continue?
Okay, yeah. So, well, the basics of the theory describe that, like, hey, um, if alien civilizations and alien visitors are are here on our planet, right? And they're taking steps to cloak themselves and not be found out by the wider human species as a whole. They're not here for good
Hmm.
reasons. They're
Right.
either here or as a scouting party or some sort of like infiltration, sinister mission.
Right. So
Yeah.
I guess what yeah, I mean, if you kind of think of it, it's a bit sus, right? Like, if aliens were to come in peace per se, or especially when you mentioned, we've been blasting signals into space for ages now.
Hmm.
Why haven't they just been like, yeah, okay, we'll be there in like I don't know, half a decade. We'll see you in a bit,
I
or
mean, yeah. I
just
mean,
kind of go with it, or land in the White House, be like, yo, or post something on YouTube, be like, hey, we're coming in. We'll see you guys here. Have a meetup. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
yeah. I
it's a
mean,
bit
like
weird. I mean,
NASA, I think, has been blasting out like signals for a kind of like a common mathematical language that is pretty that 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 works off like common mathematical formulas. So as
mhm,
long as they have mathematics, they should be able to work it out and can send us a signal back that we can work out as well. So we've been sending out like a universal kind of like language, simple universal language that we think that aliens, advanced civilization should be able to figure out and then blast back to us. But there's been nothing back.
right. Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of weird when you think of all the description of UFOs and UAPs. they're either cloaked, they're either just hidden, and just suddenly appear. And when it
Yeah, and
comes
people
across to
just
me,
get
that's
abducted
pretty
and get drugged and like get knocked out and then get like
yeah.
anal
I
probed.
mean, if you think about it, it's pretty sus, right? Like if you like I gave this kind of analogy to Bills. Like if you're a tourist that you go to another country, of course you're gonna be different, but you're not gonna rip somebody's face off or go into full incognito mode and not be seen by anybody, right? If you're a tourist and you're going in peace, you're gonna try to be pretty nice about it, right?
Well, you're gonna be normal. You're not gonna go in there with
Yeah,
the
yeah, you're
disguise,
gonna be nice. Yeah,
which is
yeah.
the very
So
sus thing. It's like, what are you hiding?
yeah,
Why are you hiding?
yeah. So I think I'll kind of go into my theory or my hypothesis, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
You know, when you look at the world and especially of the universe, I think we have an image of the universe. If you can show that, I think it'd be great for people to see, like just the Milky Way galaxy, right? If you just think about it, we are
Galaxy.
just a small little speck in the proverbial ocean, right? We are just like one grain of sand in an entire earth, or one drop of water in the ocean. We are so small. And I actually subscribe to the fact that if you look at probability, it's actually there are potentially like 100 billion habitable planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone. This Milky Way galaxy alone, and there's so many. And I think even in that aspect, there's also the thing called the Drake equation, which is the mathematical formula which attempts to estimate the number of intelligent civilizations that may exist in the Milky Way galaxy.
Hmm.
Now, the equation is based on many uncertain factors, including like the rate of star formation and the likelihood of life emerging on a habitable planet, or some estimates suggest that, it's as many as 10,000 intelligent civilizations in just our galaxy.
Hmm.
Now, I'm I'm a strong believer in the fact that there there are definitely other things out there in the universe.
Hmm.
Whether or not they're intelligent or not, I believe that there is. It's just looking at it statistically and probability. It's definitely something out there. Whether or not they are aliens or green men or these kind of stuff, I can't really say for sure. But what I think is really interesting is that in the past couple of years, there have been so many reports on UFOs and UAPs. I mean, I can give you a few. In 2004, in the USS Nimitz carrier strike group was conducting a training exercise off the coast of San Diego when
Hmm.
several Navy pilots reported encountering an unusual object that they could not identify. Now, the object, which was described as a tic tac shape, was seen by several pilots and tracked by their radar. The pilots reported that the object was capable of accelerating at hypersonic speeds and performing maneuvers that were beyond the capabilities of any known aircraft.
Yeah.
Even in 2015, pilots from the USS Theodore Roosevelt reported encountering several UAPs off the coast of Florida. Now, these objects were described as flying without any visible means of propulsion and were capable of stopping and accelerating and rapid acceleration and abrupt stops. This goes all the way to as early as 2021, right?
Yep.
Now, and it's just a very interesting point in the life of the story and research of UAPs, because in 2021 the U.S. Department of Defense actually released a report on UFO sighting by military personnel, which confirms that some of these sightings could not be explained. The report also states that there's more research and analysis needed to better understand the phenomena. Now, all this information is actually declassified, so if you do want to go have a look and have a read, you can
Yeah.
go and
It's
have a
it's
look and
yeah, it's a
and
very
just find it
interesting
out
read
yourself.
and just fuels
But
my
you're
my well, in a very traditional sense, xenophobia.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
It makes you more afraid.
It makes me more like, no, you should be shooting these things down more.
Well, so I mean, because this is on the fringe, and I'm a bit of a research nerd, and I decided, and I want to bring you guys quality content, right? Let's go to image. Uh, I believe it's the one right before this. It's basically this or 2022's report on aliens and history. So that's actually something that came out quite recently, where the information is that we went into, or what basically is a report on what they have seen this or the past years. So it's very interesting because, just the report itself, the U.S. Office is actually now aware of 510 reported sightings that increased over the 144 compiled in the first assessment in 2021.
Yep.
Now, nearly half of the sightings were actually deemed as unremarkable and attributed to human origins. So, according to a report, however, more than 100 of the encounters were actually remained unexplained.
Hmm.
Now, the report says that the encounters with UFOs, which let's all get on the same page because actually now it's actually referred to as a UAP, an unidentified aerial phenomenon,
Yep.
continues to occur in restricted or sensitive airspace, highlighting the possible concerns for safety and national security. Now, of the 366 new reports, 26 of them were deemed to be drones, 163 of them were balloons, and six aerial objects were attributed to clutters. Now, clutters refers to simply, it could be birds, it could be just weird materials that you find in the air. So parts of planes and stuff that, or even parts of balloons that you may have popped recently. So
Okay, yeah, just like wreckage and just general stuff that falls off planes.
yeah, yeah. So you can see that there's a lot of information that actually goes into this thing. But I think what's really interesting is that the increased reports of encounters are indeed the result of a concentrated effort to destigmatize the topics of UAPs and instead recognize the potential risk that it poses as both a flight safety, of a safety of a flight hazard, and a potential adversary activity. Now it goes on to say that 171 sightings still remain uncharacterized and unattributed, meaning that there's not enough information collected to effectively identify them. Now, some of the uncharacterized UAPs appear to have demonstrated unusual flight characteristics or performance capabilities that require further analysis, the report says. However, none of the reports have been linked to any extraterrestrial activity. And I think that's really important to actually sign off on and actually note because if you really think about it, I actually think that there's a lot of other things. If anything, in recent times, it could tell you that a lot of these UAPs and UFOs that people see in general cases may not be something that's too out of this world. The fact
Hmm.
that we have billionaires and millionaires nowadays, having enough money and tech to send stuff or send like a rocket to space. Even the fact that NASA kind of has to get the billionaires to be like, yeah, why don't you guys help us send this thing to space? I think it could be a lot of things. It could just be the works of a really rich billionaire, or it could
Hmm.
be if you want to be a bit skeptical, it could be even other countries. It could be militaries. It could be a lot of things. I think the fact that even within certain countries, and I think a perfect example is that until recently, in the US, they've actually been releasing about 184 balloons every day across the country, but
Hmm.
they never made sure that everybody was on the same page about where these balloons were. It was only until the recent situation where now they decided that we need to tell everybody, and all the aviation authorities need to know where all these balloons are at any point in time. So I don't genuinely think that UAPs and UFOs are an a thing outside of
Like
Earth.
an
You know what I mean?
extraterrestrial thing. You're thinking
Yeah, I
it's
don't
more
think
like um it's more closer to home, you could say.
yeah,
All
for
right, all
sure.
right.
I don't think it's an extraterrestrial thing. I think it could just be yeah, it could be espionage. It could be people just having the monies to go willy-nilly. I mean, the sky is so big and it's
It may
just
make sense. Like I think like going back to my like dark forest theory,
yeah,
right? Like it's like if if extraterrestrials are on the planet, right? Are already on the planet, let's say. They're doing a really bad job of it. Really big doing a really bad job of trying to invade. This is like the
Yeah.
worst invasion of ever like I've seen. We've been
Yeah.
out here like 50 or 60 years, like blasting out signals, and what do we have? Like a few people kind of like scattered around, seeing like, hey, there's weird stuff in the sky. That seems anticlimactic
Yeah.
for
And I
an
mean,
alien invasion.
exactly the fact. You know what I mean? I
Um,
think like if anything, if aliens wanted to come in to do whatever they wanted to, they would have already done it. If these were if these were aliens or UFOs that are supposedly have the tech, imagine they have the tech to travel at supersonic speeds and to suddenly stop their planes or have some anti gravity device. Why
I
would they
mean, we can
not
go
just
bigger
have
than that.
done?
Like they have the technology to travel across, like
Oh yeah, fair
huge
enough.
stretches of like the void of space, which is
Yeah.
something that
So
we're only just really getting grips on.
exactly, why haven't they done anything? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
Why
Yep.
haven't they done something more significant than, show themselves once in a while and then disappear for ages?
Yeah. Kill cows, maybe. Anal
Yeah,
probe some people.
kill cows, maybe draw some crop circles, or I don't know, yeah, probe some people. I just think, it just doesn't make sense. Again, I need to preference this that I believe that it's a possibility that there are aliens, there are
Mm,
extraterrestrial beings out there.
yep.
I just don't think that they find anything interesting in us, and there's no reason for them to, come down to Earth to us.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm looking at the comments here, and you know, there are some people who say like, former U.S. officials say they may not be of the U.S. or foreign origins, but how do they know? They don't even know when another country may be spying on them. So how would they know?
Okay. Let's
You
let's
don't
let's
really.
let's
Yeah.
take it one step further, right? Let's say like, okay, because I think that the comment was very interesting. I saw that comment, and
Mhm.
I wanted to emphasize that the U.S. government does not think that it's of U.S. origins or other countries' origins, but it does not reference private owners.
Yeah.
So I think that UAPs and UAPs maybe needs a little bit maybe like all of our thinkings of like theories on UAPs need to have a bit of an update. Maybe it's not
Yeah.
extraterrestrial. Maybe it's more closer to home. Maybe it's just rich corporations and rich people like in general just like testing out like new like technologies that we're not privy to yet, and they don't need to tell anyone because it's private property.
Yeah, and I mean, if you really think about, I think the fact that even the report kind of states that they're trying to move away from the term UFO and to destigmatize the fact that now it's called a UAP, right? I think UFO in itself has been for very long actually, has had this notion of people wearing tinfoil hats or conspiracy theories. Oh, the government is spying on me, etc., etc. But the
Hmm.
fact that now they're coming out and they're saying, look, we know that there's things in the air. We know that, it may not be of the US or whatever, but it's something. And if you think about it in the great scheme of things, right? If you were an airplane traveling, maybe you're doing a red eye, you're having a transatlantic flight, and now suddenly your airplane sucks up a balloon or some UAP. Now guess what? Now you're going into the ocean. Now that's not safe for anybody. That's not safe
Yeah.
for anybody who's flying. That's not safe for the military. That's not safe for anybody that wants to travel because that's dangerous. And I think it's important that we look at these certain things. I think even if you look in the context of Singapore, right?
Hmm.
How many people have actually said that they have come out with or actually have seen an alien in Singapore? I know we do have quite a few people that believe in aliens for sure, but how many of them actually seen it? And I think it's very important that, the as much as it's kind of weird to say, I think the US government's kind of doing the right thing that if, these claims were genuine, at least let's destigmatize it. Let's actually move it to make it more acceptable so that now everybody can um, kind of look at it and study
Like,
it in a
well,
certain way.
like they can like report in confidence that like, hey, like contact your local
Yeah.
authority to go like, yeah, there's something in the sky that's
Yeah, and
weird.
then they're not going to treat you like, oh, this guy's a nutter. Like actually then we're able to study it. And I think it's very important that if in the situation it wasn't extraterrestrial, then it's actually gone going through the proper channels and actually being recognized for what it is.
Shoot it down.
You know what I
Shoot it
mean?
down. Just shoot it down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean exactly what Jill says. I think even in Singapore, the stories of the Hantu kind of keeps the aliens away, which is it's an interesting way to see it. You know, I genuinely don't know. And if anybody watching this stream, if you know somebody who lives in Singapore, who is
Yep.
Singaporean and not American,
Yep.
and has had an experience with a alien or UFO, UAP, please send them our way. I would love to have a chat with them. I think so far through my entire time researching this story, I have not seen a single story or a claim of a UFO or UAP in Singapore's case. Now, when I say UFO, I'm talking about little green man and not unidentified flying objects because I think
Like we mean
today's
like an
episode is
alien
pretty.
abduction.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a perfect way to see it. But I mean, a perfect like I don't want to know about a flying object because honestly, we have so many flying objects in our skies. Our planes fly over every day. We know for a fact that other countries have flown into our airspace. So that's not interesting whatsoever. I'm
Yeah.
talking about
Yep.
full on abduction
Yep.
and the what you actually get.
Yeah. I mean, like in this in the context of Singapore, our flight laws are so strict because of how many planes and how many logistics and carrier flights that fly overhead, right? So you can't even like fly drones at certain heights. You can't even fly drones at certain areas. It's like a no go. So I think that has a really big impact about like the lack of UAP sightings in Singapore.
Mhm.
Just like
And again,
if
I was
we're
kind of
talking about like, hey, we're gonna be looking at like very wealthy people or like corporations that are doing testing and stuff like that. They testing on like flight models or like flight drones and stuff like that, right? Yeah, they're definitely not gonna do it in Singapore because it's like no, if my thing gets
too many
found out, it's
rules.
a massive fine, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
get put in jail. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine, like let's just say a UFO comes to Singapore, right? And it lands in the middle of, I don't know, botanic gardens.
Yeah.
You know who's gonna be there, right? It's gonna be those saman aunties with the tickets saying, you can't park here, man. Move your goddamn thing. And
Oh no, no, no!
you
It'll be
didn't.
like at least three different government bodies like giving them fines, going like, okay, you can't fly in this, like you can't
You
fly
can't
in the
fly.
zone.
You
Number
can't
one,
fly here. You can't park here. It's too much radiation coming off this thing. You're gonna get fined. They're gonna be like, oh, no wonder we never come to Singapore, man. It's like
you're gonna get the Ministry of Environment to come in, going like, hey, you just demolished a bunch of
too
like trees in the
There's too
botanic
much. There's too
gardens. You need to
much.
pay for that.
There's too much emissions from your damn plane. Your spaceship. Please get out. Here's the final. See you in court. But yeah, I mean, on a serious note, like I genuinely don't think. I think UAPs and UFOs in general, not the existence of aliens. I think you need to separate the two, right? Unidentified aerial phenomena. I think it's a real thing. They're just things in the sky. We don't know what it is, and therefore the name, unidentified. And I don't think it has to be something of extraterrestrial. Um, you know, it doesn't have to be from outer space. I think it's more concerning that it's actually within the context of Earth. Again, it could be espionage. It could be some rich billionaire. And for whatever the case, it's not safe. It's not safe for everybody around it. Everybody around who actually may use like planes or anything. Because if guess what,
I
if
mean,
something
it's
crashes and
weird
it lands
that
onto,
yeah,
oh yeah,
it's weird that current UAP sightings, a lot of current UAP sightings, turns out to be like balloons or like
yeah,
very low speed kind of like weird orbs,
exactly.
let's say. So
What happened?
it's
Yeah.
very very different than what we've had in the past. Of hey, like these UFOs are supposed to be super super high tech, are supposed to be
Hmm.
far more advanced than we are, and are achieving speeds and maneuvers that we can't achieve. And yet it's like we just see them in the sky and just go like, eh.
Oh,
right
hey,
there,
we can see it.
right
Yeah,
there. So it's
I
complete. I think it's a more updated theory that it could be just it could be a rich billionaire that is like and their corporation that is trying to test out like a new drone, new a UAV or something like that, or like a new like
yeah,
aircraft propulsion system that they're obviously not going to tell the general public because that's like secret like corporate information. It's like no, 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 no. Like if you've ever tried to call a corporate office or anything like that, right? Um, you don't need to, you don't need to take a look at the government to see how like secretive, like people can be. The corporations, right, are way more secretive. They're like their PDPA is usually much, much, much more stricter than like even like government agencies, which is kind of
yeah.
surprising.
I mean, even if you look in the situation of things in World War II, like the stealth bomber, right, or anything along those lines, they're going to be identified to unidentifiable to anybody who isn't in on it. You know what I mean? So it could be literally anything. Whether or not it's it's kind of my perspective of like of ghosts, right? I don't think everything is the Hantu. Similarly, I don't think every UAP or every UFO is an extraterrestrial because I think there's a lot more things on Earth where we haven't ourselves discovered. We don't know everything, right? We don't even know what happens across the planet for some instances. So if you kind of use it like the dark forest theory, you kind of need to it needs to be adjusted in some way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it can like okay. Let's change it a little bit to instead of the dark forest theory, we'll change it into like the dark cabin theory because it's more on
The dark
Earth.
cabin. Oh yeah, no, it makes
The
it
dark
makes
cabin
complete
theory.
sense.
Um, so I think I think we're onto something here in terms of trying to put it into more of a context, all these UFPs
Yeah,
and how like they've been developing over the past like couple of like couple of decades into gradually much more like slower speed like balloon type, or even like UAV like kind of speeds that we're getting in terms of like UAP sightings. So back to my, I think we briefly mentioned like, yeah, uh, rich people generally look pretty weird, like really weird, like alien weird.
yeah.
So, has anyone seen that like a picture of like Elon Musk just like shirtless, like at the pool? Yeah, he looks damn weird. He looks kind of like a corpse. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because yeah, with his dark forest theory, if you really think about it, again, there's
It can
more things
apply
to
to
possibly.
corporations. It can apply to rich
Yeah,
people because yeah, it perfectly fits it because they don't want to like have like their corporate secrets found out by other corporations because that's going to
yeah,
affect their bottom
exactly,
line. Like that's
exactly.
the main driver. It's just money. It's
Yeah,
like who's going to be the next person to like discover the next flight new flight propulsion system, or who's going to be like the one to perfect the new commercial drone.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so competitive nowadays. When even if you look at it on a corporate level or even a military level, I think there's just so many things that I think it comes
Okay,
down to the
as a
situation
government
that it.
employee, like we are the least competitive people because we are here to do a job and we do it just there. There is no competition between like different government like, agencies, especially like in Asia or Singapore. It's more like just perform. You are the gear, you are the cog. Perform the task. If you do more, good, but there's no benefits to doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you really look at it, like I think now in this new modern age of maybe why we haven't seen as many, um, or why haven't there been so many, what's the word, claims of UFOs and UAPs in modern days, it's only because I think a lot of people are more privy to the fact that, yeah, there are a lot more things in the sky. I think you need a lot more solid evidence to be able to prove the existence of aliens and what I mean, if you want to say UFOs or UAPs, I think you need more solid evidence than there was this thing flying in the air at this speed at maybe we don't know the tech of. I think there's a lot more evidence needed because at the rate in which technology grows nowadays, man, you look at it, look back 10 years ago, what kind of phones were we using? Like my phone now is more powerful than the computer that I had 10 years ago.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So
I
things just
yeah.
travel, technology just so speed, like they speed up so much faster, and anything could be possible tomorrow, man. And
I mean,
I just
yeah.
think, yeah, there's a lot more evidence than
I mean, yeah. Like
telling me
that.
a UFO or UAP.
Like on a more personal note, like I feel that uh, I feel that shooting down UAPs is the correct thing. I think it genuinely is, because if you're saying that like, hey, there's an unidentified flying object, right? Flying phenomena. We can see it. We can track it. It's there. Nobody's taking like ownership of it. It's just there.
Yeah, yeah,
Screw it. We're gonna shoot it down. We'll find out what it is afterwards.
yeah. It- I mean, it happened.
Like
It's
if
happened,
some
and I
like
think.
if there's like a like let's say DJI for whatever reason is doing like a weird like drone exercise like in the middle of like the ocean, let's say, and a couple of people
Mhm.
see it and it goes into like some territorial waters of like a government, right? And government ship rolls by and goes like, yeah, there's a bunch of like weird lights in the sky. We don't know what it
There's a lot
is.
of flying things, huh? Maybe we should go and have a look.
Yeah, and goes like goes and have a looks, right, and they contact their own services and goes like, yeah, nobody's taking ownership of it. None of like like they're obviously not going to contact companies, so they're just gonna like, I think they should shoot them down. Just shoot them all down and go like, hey, then fish them out of the water, and then we know, hey, it's a DJI drone.
You didn't get the correct flight clearances. This is restricted airspace. Yeah. And I mean, again, if you like, I actually implore you guys to have a look at that document that the US defense actually put out. All these UAPs, and I think they're in their every right to have done what they did in terms of shooting down whatever it is, because it is restricted and the country's airspace. It, they're in all their rights to do what they did.
Yeah, and the weird
But
thing about like I think we're onto something here with the whole like balloon testing, flight
mhm,
testing, and also like the drone testing, right? Because all like I think two out of the three things, right? Like maybe the third thing, if there's no pilot involved, right? Don't actually have a way of like two-way communication. So
right.
like in the movies when like the U.S. Air Force kind of goes like, "You are in restricted airspace. Please like
Yeah, yeah.
identify who you are," that kind of thing. Yeah, they don't even have that like that radio to kind of go like, no, we're this and this so's property. Don't shoot us down.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and I think this is quite a good way to wrap up this topic because, you know, as we move on, there's always going to be new cases of UFOs and UAPs. And again, I think, we're both we're not okay, we're not on the fence or on the fringe on this. We're actually both on the same page. We do believe that there's a possibility that there's things out there, right? There's things like outside of the earth. It's For me, it's probability and science. Like if you look at it from a statistical and side of it, and for Bill, it's just a possibility that there's definitely something out there.
Oh yeah,
So
it definitely is. Yeah.
yeah, I think we're not trying to say that aliens aren't real. Definitely not. But I think what we're trying to say in today's episode is that the UAPs, or the whole topic on UAPs, needs to be kind of rebranded, and in what the
Really, it's
U.S. defense.
redirected, like updated a little
Yeah,
bit more
yeah.
to a more modern context, because a lot of the sightings we have right now um, aren't like aren't exactly like the super high tech things that we're
Yeah.
used to seeing for like UAPs. They aren't like the crazy like spaceships. These are like
Hmm.
smaller dumb crafts.
Yeah. So, I think it's important that, again, we destigmatize the fact that, UAPs are a thing. Again, I just don't think everything is an alien. I think there's a lot more things that maybe we should be more weary about in terms of our airspace, and in the political context, even potentially other countries, and even different corporations. you know so again, if you guys have any stories or know anybody who has ever been abducted or had an encounter with an alien, please let us know because I'm on the page where until I hear it from myself and until somebody talks about it in Singapore in the local context, it's going to be something very distant for everyone to relate to.
I'm very much waiting for somebody to shoot down a proper alien craft, and then we can go like, hey, you know,
There we go. Real proof.
then we can finally use that the quote,
Yeah,
"Welcome
that's
to
true.
Earth."
That's true. Now you come in pieces. But yeah, you know, there you go, guys. That was your viewers' choice episode. If you like it, please let us know. You can give us a thumbs up. You can comment. I think as they mentioned on last Friday, we actually are creating a Patreon, the same Patreon actually with Friday Night Lives. It will be on our
Hmm.
Supernatural page. So if you want to support us, then you'll get the same perks as you would on Friday nights. You can just do the same thing. Patreon will
Oh,
be
I
on for both with this
are
entire channel.
we doing our own Patreon for On the Fringe, or is it just combined as
No, no, no. We're gonna
Supernatural
we're gonna combine
Confessions?
it. Yeah, it's under
Yeah, yeah.
the Supernatural
It's a Supernatural
Confessions YouTube
Confessions
page.
Patreon. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to
So,
support us or Friday Night Live or like anything that we want to do, yeah, just go to the Patreon page. We can link that below.
oh, well, I mean, we haven't. It's not up yet. It's not live
Oh, it's
yet,
not. No, it's not
but
up there.
in
Okay.
in soon enough, it will be up.
Okay.
And yeah,
Okay.
you get very different tiers. You get nice benefits, especially to certain events that we have upcoming. And also, yeah, it's nice to see you guys support us so much as well. And you know, we don't forget to stay tuned on Friday, where I will be on the episode of Friday Night Live. We
Mm.
will be discussing a certain topic that comes close to my educational background, which is animals and forms of spirits that maybe come in the form of animals. So if you're very interested and you want to see more of that, catch me on Friday. I believe okay, it's not at 8 p.m. It's 10 p.m. I must remember that. 10 p.m. on Friday nights on with John and Eugene. Also, I think upcoming we do have the live walk. I mean the walk. The, what is it? The walking Changi, the haunted tours
Oh yeah,
with
that's good. Yep.
Eugene and John. So if you want to do that, you will also stay tuned and stick tuned to all of our upcoming announcements.
Yep. 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 I mean, everyone knows my stance on animal spirits at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, you guys have any questions, do throw them up in the comment section, the chat now, and we'll get to them. I see KK Hing actually says, "We await Bill and his wild escapades with his ghost bride." Yeah, weren't you supposed to be on an episode on it last week or something?
No, last week. No. No. No.
I mean,
Well,
well, I
there
mean,
was
you'll
a
definitely
talk with Eugene, and then I cleared up my schedule, and then nothing happened, and I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
you will definitely see Bill on Friday Night Lives as well. And
Yes.
yes, he may go into his wild escapades with his ghost bride, even though I don't know if he has one yet. He has a doesn't have a ghost bride, right? But you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Never know. Never know. Anything else for the chat?
Oh yeah, we also will be having merch up pretty soon enough. There are merch coming, so if you guys want to get your hands on that, do stick tuned to the announcements on the Facebook page. We will get the merch out, and if you want it, you can always contact one of us or go through our web pages to get that.
Um. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be super, super cool. But I'm also going like, is there any more questions from the chat in terms of like, the whole UAP thing and what we just talked about?
Oh yes.
Because I think L still feels that extraterrestrials are just like Earthlings from the far future, by which time there probably isn't an Earth anymore. Um. Uh.
I think that's
So.
actually quite a popular theory, right? That people suggest that Mars might have actually been um, a place that supported life before this.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
before what it is
But I think
today.
he's going towards like not the Mars, like the Mars human theory. I think it's more so the
Mhm.
future human theory, that like Earth,
So like a time traveler,
like a time traveler, like theory.
right?
And I think that
Well,
those are damn, like, those are inconsiderate time travelers. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
you know our
fun,
past, you know how bad
yeah,
it gets. Why do you not warn us?
yeah. I mean, if you kind of, I think we know we on the Fringe we did an episode on time travelers before, so if you kind of want to see that, do find out one of our earlier episodes where we were a bit more new to this, I
Selfish.
suppose.
Selfish. They're time tourists. They're selfish.
Yeah, yeah, it could be a lot of things, man. There's so many things to talk. I mean, so
Yeah.
many possibilities of what they could be. Yeah, like what Mind Freak kind of said. Aliens, they came, they saw, they weren't impressed, and the end. Yeah, exactly. I think it would. I mean, if they ever did come down, yeah, it could have been that.
Yeah. Gotta always prepare. Gotta flex those human muscles to go like, hey, get off my property.
Just shoot them out the sky again.
Look, they don't come in peace. They come here like, just like, they don't declare themselves. They're sus.
Yeah,
Like if a
but
guy was like, okay,
oh,
like
go ahead. Go
to
ahead.
add to it a little bit, right? If a guy was like on my lawn, just hiding in the bush, he ain't there for like a good reason. Get
Yeah,
what
I
I
mean,
mean? Right?
it's,
Yeah.
that's definitely true. I get what you mean. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of different theories and a lot of ways we can get into it, especially this coming episode. Now, when it comes to March, we actually have we have a, well, not new, we have another roster of episodes and things that we have already said. So, let's give them, oh, we can tell them what's the next episode about. Next episode is on, do you remember?
Whew. Um, Actually, I do not remember. I've been so engrossed in this UAP thing because it's like, yes, okay, cool. I get to express classic xenophobia, not this
Yeah.
new age, like, xenophobia.
Okay. So, it actually is a topic that, you know, a lot of people wanted to see, and it actually came up quite frequently in some of our descript or explanations in this past the past when calling for topics. There's, so I can give you a few. There's Hollow Earth. There was the whole Adrian Lim story. There's a
Yep.
bit more religious stuff, like for example exorcisms, which I think is this Miss P.
Who is Miss P? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Are we back live?
I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, hello. We are. We're back.
We are back. Hey. Oh, okay, cool, 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 cool,
We are
cool.
back. Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
so that
I'm
was very weird.
apologies.
I think we just got like cyber hacked or something. I don't know.
It was, we were dedoxed by the aliens. We know too much. The men in black are watching us now.
Like, no, we have to
But yeah,
protect Mark Zuckerberg.
yeah, we talked about we talked about Mark Zuckerberg, and he was not happy with his comparison to an alien.
Fair, fair, fair. All right, yeah, I
So,
think yep.
I mean, thanks for waiting, guys. But we were about to sign off.
We were
So,
about to sign off, but we got some interesting comments in in the chat. We did not plan this. This is like okay.
yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of topics again. I mean, this is where we kind of last left off. There are a lot of topics for us to come this week, this month, and just moving forward. And yeah, for the first episode, maybe we won't tell you guys exactly what it is now, but keep sending us your topics, and we definitely have episodes planned already. So I think I'm really excited next month for the Adrian Lim episode. Actually, I think it's really close to home for those that don't know. It's very interesting. So I think especially for our younger viewers, if there are any who don't really know the history of the occult in Singapore, especially occultic murders. It'll be our first episode doing that, and I think it's very interesting to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's gonna be a fantastic episode. We're gonna do more research. We're gonna be like,
Yeah.
hopefully we won't do too much and accidentally summon something using the
Oh
rituals
no, please.
symbols.
Yeah, I don't need to do
Um,
that.
but yeah,
But
I think
yeah,
this has been an amazing episode with an end to remember. The fact that we got
this is actually the
cancelled or
first time I
DDoS,
think
I
we've
don't know.
ever, yeah,
And
we've never had this situation before. I think.
although we did have the weird ghost noises. So from
Oh
my
yeah,
place,
yeah, yeah. That's
so
true.
that was interesting. But yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, if you want to come talk to us on the Discord channel. Also, um, make sure to comment down below in the comment section, like on the YouTube video, if you want to suggest any topics, or you really want us to address something in particular. So we're
Oh,
always looking
especially
on
any
that.
questions. Yeah, especially any questions from this episode. We will
Yeah, yeah.
reply
Like
there.
if you feel like you disagree with some of our points, or like you just or you think that we weren't super factual about it, like about certain things, or weren't very accurate about it, like let us know. Honestly, like we're we're only human. We make mistakes, so it's like tell
And
us
we're back,
what you
and
do.
yeah, and we're here to bring you a new and improved show this year. So tell us where we can do better as well.
Yeah, I mean
But yeah,
it's funny because like a couple people are saying like it must be the aliens, and it's like, you know what? It's been a while since I cut my hair, and I realized the hairstyle that I wanted to get my hair cut in is a mullet. And actually, I think I'm long enough now that I can actually achieve that. So,
Okay, I just want to clarify. Elle says, can we cover more stories related to the topics as well? So you mean like more personal experiences and like experiences with the topics, so like aliens and stuff like that? Yeah, for sure. We can do that. I think we kind of did it last week with the Tik Balang, especially because the Tik Balang was a news story. It was a kind of topic that you could get like firsthand experience with. So yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, Bill.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We can get So I think where it's more appropriate, we can do more of that. I think definitely we'll see more of that in more factual, in more eyewitness account like cryptids, because I feel like the UAP episode having a lot of eyewitness accounts detracts from. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we're always similar to Friday Night Lives. If you know somebody or you do have your own personal experience with the topic for that week or any topics, whether you know a flat earther, whether you know a real person or a person who has been abducted by aliens, whether you've seen the Orang Pendek or you've had weird experiences with the different topics, right? Come look for us, and I think it'd be perfect to get those experiences and encounters from you guys. Yeah, we
Hmm.
can do that. We can definitely do that.
Yep, 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 yep. So I think personal experiences, yes, we're going to do that. We can definitely do that. And also, yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good for tonight. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you sign off then, Bill?
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's episode. And we had a blast researching and delivering all this research and all this like stuff to you today. And yeah, we had like a weird DDoS technical issue happen, but thank you very much. And the truth is always out there. Leave it going over to you, Matt.
Okay. Thanks for tuning into another episode. I'm Matt. That's Bill. You know, it's always been exciting. It's an exciting, enlightening experience for exploring the fringes of our understanding. So until next time, keep an open mind. Never stop searching for the truth. This is Matt signing off, and we'll see you on the next episode of On the Fringe. Stay on the fringes, guys.